In the harsh winds that swept across the Eastern Front, under skies choked with smoke and the endless thunder of war, a single name rose like a whisper of dread through the ranks of the German army: Lyudmila Pavlichenko. She was not a myth, not a symbol, but a real woman whose steady hands and calm breath would make her one of the deadliest snipers in the history of warfare. Before the world came to know her as Lady Death, she was simply Lyudmila, a determined, sharp-minded young woman born in 1916 in a small Ukrainian town near Biela Tserkva. She grew up in a Soviet Union that demanded discipline and resilience from its children. She was restless, competitive, driven by a fierce desire to prove herself in a society where expectations for women were set firmly in place. That pressure didn't crush her, it forged her. At 14, she overheard a neighborhood boy boasting about his shooting skills, claiming girls could never match boys in accuracy or bravery. That moment lit a spark in her. She marched herself to the local shooting range, signed up for training, and began the first chapter of a journey that would one day terrify an entire invading force. Her talent was undeniable. Every shot she took hit the target with uncanny precision. Instructors were stunned. She wasn't just good, she had a natural instinct for distance, wind, timing, and stillness. It was as if her heart slowed down when the rifle reached her shoulder. She joined a paramilitary sports group and earned the sharpshooter badge long before she stepped onto the battlefield. But destiny pushed her in another direction first. Lyudmila studied history at Kyiv University, dreaming of becoming a scholar, an academic who would spend her life surrounded by books instead of bullets. But in 1941, when Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa and thundered into Soviet territory with millions of soldiers, tanks, aircraft, and an iron promise to destroy everything in its path, her life and the life of every Soviet citizen changed forever. She was 24. Instead of staying in the safety of the classroom, she walked straight to the military recruitment office. Not to be a nurse. Not to take a support role. She demanded to be a soldier, a sniper at the front line. The officers laughed at first. A woman? On the front? With a sniper rifle? They told her to join the medical unit like countless other women. But Lyudmila was not a woman who accepted limits placed on her by others. She slammed her sharpshooter certificates on the desk, proving she was more qualified than many men being sent to the front. They handed her a rifle. The war had gained one of its most lethal weapons. She joined the Red Army's 25th Rifle Division, deployed initially near Odessa. The front line was brutal, chaotic gunfire, collapsing trenches, soldiers dying on every side. War, stripped of all its illusion and glory, stared her straight in the face. And yet in that chaos, she found her purpose. Her first confirmed kill came after days of waiting, watching, learning the rhythm of the battlefield. When the moment came, she exhaled slowly, pressed the trigger, and the German soldier fell. One shot. One life taken. A heavy moment. She would later say the most difficult kill of her entire career was that first one. But the war didn't leave her time to dwell on morality or sorrow. The more she saw Soviet soldiers fall, the more resolute she became. With every enemy sniper she eliminated, with every infantry officer she struck down, she wasn't fighting for herself, she was fighting for every village the Nazis burned. Every child left orphaned, every mother crying over a body on the roadside. In Odessa, her reputation grew. She hunted German snipers with cold precision, engaging in silent duels that sometimes lasted hours, sometimes days. She once spent an entire day pinned under fire by an enemy marksman, waiting patiently for him to reveal a sliver of movement. She won. She always won. By the time Odessa fell and her division retreated to Sevastopol on the Crimean Peninsula, Lyudmila Pavlichenko had already become a legend among her comrades. But Sevastopol is where she truly carved her name into history. For 8 long months, the city endured one of the fiercest sieges of World War II. The Germans threw everything they had: bombers, artillery, infantry divisions, but the Soviet forces dug in and refused to break. They fought in ruined streets, shattered buildings, cliffs overlooking the Black Sea, and Lyudmila perched in those ruins like a ghost. She was calm, silent, calculating. She changed positions constantly, crawling through rubble, camouflaging herself with mud and ashes. The Germans began to fear the very idea of unseen eyes watching them from the shattered stones. They called her the Lady in the Trees, the Witch, the Invisible One. But eventually, the name became something else: Lady Death, not because she embraced killing, but because she mastered the art of survival. She recorded kill after kill, using her iconic Mosin-Nagant rifle without a scope for many shots, relying only on iron sights and instinct. She outmaneuvered enemy snipers who tried to hunt her down. She once eliminated over a dozen in a single stretch of combat. She was wounded multiple times but kept returning to the battlefield. She refused to withdraw, refused to rest, refused to surrender an inch of ground. Her confirmed tally eventually rose to 309 enemy soldiers, over 300 lives stopped by one woman with unwavering resolve and a steady finger. These were not random targets. Many were elite snipers, officers, and highly trained marksmen sent specifically to find and kill her. She survived them all. By mid-1942, shrapnel wounds forced her off the front lines. The Soviet command realized they were on the brink of losing one of their greatest assets. So instead of sending her back, they sent her across the world to the United States, Canada, and Great Britain to rally support for the Second Front. When she arrived in America, she became the first Soviet citizen welcomed by a U.S. president. Franklin D. Roosevelt greeted her personally at the White House. This 25-year-old woman, barely over 5 feet tall, dressed in a military uniform heavy with medals, became an international symbol of courage. Crowds gathered to hear her speak. She was shy at first, unaccustomed to the cameras, the microphones, the strange new world far from gunfire. But one moment changed everything. During a press event, American reporters asked her about her use of makeup, her clothing, her femininity, trivial questions in the face of the horrors she had witnessed. Annoyed, exhausted, she stepped forward and said the line that shook the room. "Gentlemen, I am 25 years old, and I have killed 309 fascist invaders. Do you not think, gentlemen, that you have been hiding behind my back for too long?" The audience froze, then erupted in applause. Newspapers around the world printed her words. She wasn't just a sniper now, she was a symbol of resistance, strength, and the brutal truth of war. She toured factories, universities, halls filled with thousands of people, urging the Allies to open a second front in Europe to relieve the Soviet Union's immense suffering. And she succeeded. When she returned to the USSR, she was honored as a national hero. She never returned to the battlefield, but her story echoed through the ranks of future snipers, inspired generations of soldiers, and became a reminder of what courage under fire truly looks like. After the war, she finished her studies, became a historian, lived a quieter life, and carried the scars, physical and emotional, of everything she endured. But the world never forgot her. In the ruins of Odessa, in the cliffs of Sevastopol, in the memories of the soldiers she fought beside, Lyudmila Pavlichenko became something more than a sniper. She became a guardian of her homeland, a proof that one individual, armed with skill and determination, can alter the course of war. Her legend continues not because she killed, but because she stood unbreakable in the face of overwhelming destruction. Her life remains a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the strength of a woman who refused to be underestimated, and the fierce courage of a soldier who defended her world with every breath, every bullet, every heartbeat. She was Lady Death, but she was also life defending itself against annihilation, a quiet force standing defiantly against an empire of fire. And long after the last gunshot of the Second World War faded, her story lived on, reminding the world that true power sometimes comes from the most unexpected places. In the end, Lyudmila Pavlichenko didn't fight for glory. She fought so that others could live. And that, above all, is what makes her unforgettable.